So let's dive into one of the biggest, most fundamental questions in all of philosophy. How do we actually know what we know? And believe me, this isn't just some dusty, abstract puzzle. It's an epic battle for the very foundation of truth. And it's been raging for centuries.
You've heard this a million times, right? Heck, you've probably said it yourself. It sounds like just plain common sense. But that one little sentence, it's actually the first shot fired in a massive philosophical war between two incredibly powerful ideas about where knowledge really comes from. So where does the real stuff, true knowledge, actually come from? Is it something that's born inside our own minds, through just pure logic and reason? Or is it something we have to build piece by piece from our experiences in the outside world, everything we see and hear and touch? That's the huge question we're going to unpack today. All right, so here's our game plan for this journey. We're going to start with the crisis that kicked this whole thing off. Then we'll meet the two major competing teams, see how a philosophical genius came in and basically resolved the whole conflict. And finally, we'll get into why this old debate still matters so much today. Okay, so our story kicks off in a time of, well, total chaos. The Renaissance and the scientific revolution were turning the entire world upside down. All the old certainties, things that were once guaranteed by faith and tradition for centuries, they were just crumbling. I mean, you had thinkers like Copernicus and Galileo proving that the universe was not at all what people thought it was. This just created this desperate, urgent need for a brand new, unshakable foundation for what we could call knowledge. And right in the middle of all this, a French philosopher, René Descartes, comes along with this totally radical idea. He said, to find a truth that is absolutely 100% certain, you first have to doubt everything you possibly can. I mean, everything. He questioned his senses, his memories, even whether the physical world was real. This whole method of doubt was his way of clearing away all the rubble of old, shaky ideas. And this is what leads us to the first major contender in our philosophical battle, rationalism. Descartes and the thinkers who followed him, they argued that the ultimate source of knowledge wasn't out there in the world, but right here, inside our own minds. Now, this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's like the tail of the tape for our two big philosophical heavyweights. On one side, you've got the rationalists. They believe knowledge comes from pure reason and these innate ideas we're all born with. And on the other side, you've got the empiricists, who argue that no, it all comes from our sensory experience and what we observe. We're talking two completely opposite starting points. So for a rationalist, your mind isn't just some passive bucket waiting for the world to fill it up. No. It's an active, powerful tool that already has the seeds of truth planted inside it. Real knowledge is something you discover by looking inward, by using logic, not by just looking out at the world. And this is the perfect payoff for Descartes' whole project. After doubting literally everything, he realized there was one thing he could not possibly doubt: the fact that he was the one doing the doubting. And doubting is a kind of thinking. So, if he was thinking, he had to exist. I think, therefore I am. This was his rock-solid foundation, a piece of knowledge he got from pure reason alone, without needing to see or touch a single thing. But, not everyone was buying what Descartes was selling. A really powerful counter-movement started brewing, especially over in Britain, and it completely rejected this whole idea of innate knowledge. This was the empiricist challenge. The empiricists had a completely different take. They said, nope, when we're born, our minds are empty. No preloaded ideas, no hidden truths. Every single concept we have, everything we know, is built from the ground up using the raw data from our five senses. Without experience, the mind is just a blank slate. The English philosopher John Locke gave us this amazing metaphor of the tabula rasa. For him, there was no I think, therefore I am just waiting to be discovered inside our heads. We learn that fire is hot because we touch it. We learn what the color red is because we see it. Knowledge isn't discovered from within. It's constructed from the outside in. So now we've got these two powerful opposing camps, right? Rationalism, trusting only reason, and empiricism, trusting only the senses. And for more than 100 years, philosophy was basically stuck in the stalemate. Then, a German philosopher named Immanuel Kant came along, and believe me, he changed the entire game. Kant looked at this whole mess and asked a truly revolutionary question. Instead of seeing this as an either-or battle, what if knowledge actually required both reason and experience? What if they weren't enemies, but partners in this whole project of understanding the world?
And Kant's solution was just genius. It was this brilliant synthesis. He agreed with the empiricists. All our knowledge begins with experience. Our senses give us the raw data, the stuff of knowledge. But, and this is the big but, he argued that all that data is just a chaotic jumble until our minds actively organize it. And that's where the rationalists were right. Our reason provides the structure.
So here's the kicker. According to Kant, concepts like time, in space, and cause and effect, they're not things we discover out there in the world. They are the fundamental structures, like a pre-installed operating system built into our minds. And these structures shape all of our experiences from the get-go. We don't just passively receive reality, our minds actively construct our understanding of it. Kant's incredible synthesis didn't just stay in philosophy books. It became a cornerstone of the Enlightenment, which we often call the Age of Reason. This whole philosophical revolution, placing a critical, powerful human reason at the center of everything, it fueled massive, massive changes in science, in politics, and in all of society.
And this debate was far from over. As you can see, the conversation just kept evolving. Later thinkers like Marx and Nietzsche came along and started to challenge these very foundations of knowledge. And if you fast forward to today, we are still wrestling with this. When we ask if an AI can truly know something, or how a child's brain develops language, we're still grappling with the legacy of rationalism, empiricism, and Kant's powerful solution. So we end up back where we started, but with a much deeper question. This whole centuries-long battle leaves us with a pretty mind-bending final thought. Are we just passive observers of an objective reality that we simply discover? Or are we active participants constantly constructing the very world we perceive? The search for that answer, well, it continues. Thanks for joining me.